Today, we're exploring The Key Ideas from 10% Happier by Harris, Dan. This is an independent educational overview, enriched with our own integrative analysis and actionable exercises. Think of it as a guided reflection to spark your own insights, not a replacement for reading the book itself. The narrative unfolds as a raw, introspective account of a high-achieving television journalist's descent into profound personal crisis and subsequent journey towards self-discovery. Beginning with a dramatic on-air breakdown, a terrifying sensation of air hunger that paralyzed speech and sent the heart racing, the story quickly reveals the hidden costs of a relentlessly ambitious career. This public collapse, though initially dismissed, served as the stark revelation of deep-seated psychological distress, exacerbated by years of unacknowledged trauma, emotional detachment, and a dangerous reliance on self-medication. The protagonist's professional ascent, marked by a fierce competitive drive and exposure to global horrors, had been paralleled by an internal erosion, leading to a profound state of mindlessness. This initial unraveling, from a public professional persona to a private world of anxiety and addiction, forces a critical confrontation with a life lived on autopilot, setting the stage for an unexpected exploration into the realms of spirituality, self-awareness, and the true meaning of happiness. The unraveling, ambition, addiction, and the blinders of skepticism. The early professional life of the protagonist was defined by an insatiable hunger for recognition, a relentless pursuit of airtime within the cutthroat landscape of national news. From humble beginnings, a meteoric rise saw assignments covering global conflict zones, providing a potent cocktail of professional exhilaration that bordered on addiction. Yet this outwardly triumphant career was built on a foundation of cultivated emotional detachment, a self-declared bulletproof facade intended to shield against the horrors witnessed. This perceived strength, however, proved a profound weakness. The constant repression of emotional responses to trauma, coupled with a neglect of personal well-being, manifested in a mysterious, persistent illness, eventually diagnosed as depression. Unaware of this underlying condition, a desperate foray into self-medication began, utilizing substances that promised temporary euphoria and a fleeting sense of invincibility, feeding a dangerous delusion of control and professional excellence. This addictive pattern, rooted in a lifelong power of craving, created a precarious internal state, a ticking time bomb masked by outward success. The initial public breakdown, a moment of profound vulnerability on national television, was initially dismissed as an anomaly, momentarily suppressed by prescription anti-anxiety medication. However, a year later, a second, equally terrifying on-air panic attack ripped through the veil of denial. This incident, while largely unnoticed by colleagues, served as an undeniable, career-threatening wake-up call. A new psychiatrist swiftly unraveled the physiological mechanism. Frequent use of certain stimulants drastically elevated brain adrenaline, triggering an ancient primal fight-or-flight response. This stark scientific explanation forced an immediate commitment to sobriety and a jarring recognition of the deep-seated mindlessness that had characterized years of unchecked ambition, cavalier exposure to trauma, and destructive self-medication. This moment marked the true genesis of a profound journey towards self-awareness and healing, acknowledging the vast internal landscape that had been systematically ignored. Parallel to this personal unraveling, the journalist's worldview had been shaped by a thoroughly secular upbringing, fostering a deep skepticism, if not outright disdain, for organized religion. Believers were often caricatured, seen through a lens of intellectual superiority, particularly when covering the politically charged religion beat following the 2004 elections. This assignment was initially embraced with a critical, conflict-seeking eye, focusing on the sensational aspects of the culture wars. However, a pivotal encounter with a charismatic evangelical leader, Pastor Ted Haggard, began to subtly chip away at these ingrained preconceptions. Through candid, off-the-record conversations, the journalist gained unexpected insights into the internal complexities of modern evangelicalism. This experience, along with a mentor's counsel for more nuanced reporting, gradually shifted the journalistic approach from conflict to demystification, revealing the profound flaw in simplistic assumptions about religious individuals. The public downfall of this prominent pastor, though initially shocking, offered a poignant revelation. Even amidst immense hypocrisy, faith provided solace and purpose in the darkest hours. This experience, though not leading to personal conversion, sparked a powerful epiphany, revealing the profound value of faith for those who embraced it. Its capacity to provide meaning, structure, and a transcendent perspective for navigating life's struggles. It also highlighted a personal intellectual incuriosity, an atrophy of awe, and the realization that perpetually looking inward meant never truly looking up. This marked a significant shift toward a more empathetic engagement with the topic of spirituality, opening a crucial aperture in a previously closed mind. Navigating the internal landscape, from ego's clamor to mindful clarity. The journey deepened through an encounter with an unassuming spiritual teacher whose profound yet perplexing understanding of the human mind challenged conventional notions of self and happiness. Central to this philosophy was the concept of the ego, not merely pride, but the relentless, often negative, self-referential inner voice that narrates our lives. This internal monologue constantly judges, compares, and fixates on past grievances or future anxieties, effectively preventing genuine presence in the now. For many, this inner dialogue fuels a constant state of craving and comparison, perpetually assuming future events will bring greater satisfaction, perpetuating a cycle of continuous stress. The teacher's radical suggestion was to recognize thoughts as mere quantum bursts of psychic energy, not ultimate reality, as a foundational step toward liberation. While these insights were profound, they were often interwoven with puzzling assertions, such as thoughts having specific frequencies, sparking a journalistic skepticism regarding their practical applicability beyond mere intellectual understanding. This inquiry into spiritual teachings occurred against the backdrop of a booming self-help industry, aptly dubbed Happiness Inc. This unregulated, multi-billion-dollar market often appealed to desperate individuals seeking quick transformation. Figures like Deepak Chopra presented a polished image of perpetual serenity, yet often managed vast commercial empires, raising questions about the authenticity of effortless presence amidst such worldly pursuits. The industry's more questionable reaches often preyed on the financially vulnerable, promoting concepts like the law of attraction, which simplistically suggested that positive thinking alone could manifest desires. Figures championing these ideas, upon scrutiny, often admitted that action was still required, rendering the core premise rather brainless and obvious. More destructively, this philosophy often implied a blame-the-victim mentality, suggesting that suffering was self-inflicted through negative thoughts, a notion that strained credulity and lacked compassion. The tragic death of 3 participants in a spiritual warrior retreat led by a guru later to be secretly using steroids starkly exemplified the dangerous hypocrisy within this segment of the movement, highlighting the challenge of distinguishing genuine insight from smarmy overconfidence and exploitative tactics. A turning point arrived through Dr. Mark Epstein, a Harvard-trained psychiatrist and Buddhist practitioner who offered a grounded, scientific alternative. He illuminated how many profound self-help insights echoed Buddhist principles established 2,500 years ago, often without the later embellishments. Buddhism, as presented by Epstein, was less a rigid religion and more a practical philosophy centered on impermanence, the understanding that everything is constantly changing, and suffering stems from our persistent clinging to what cannot last. Embracing this truth could liberate one from emotional turbulence. This ancient tradition meticulously mapped the mind, identifying common mental habits like comparing mind, wanting mind, and the ego's restless churn, aptly dubbed monkey mind. They also pinpointed prapancha, or proliferation, the mind's imperialistic tendency to project a small worry into a colonizing, unpleasant future. The initial test came during the protagonist's own wedding, where a conscious effort to savor moments and embrace their fleeting nature led to profound joy. Yet post-honeymoon, familiar anxieties and competitive impulses returned, raising questions about the practicality of letting go in a striving world. Epstein, a refreshingly anti-guru figure, openly shared his own struggles, confirming that Buddhist practice doesn't eliminate human emotions, but changes one's relationship to them. He also elucidated the Ju-Bu phenomenon, secular individuals who found a spiritual home in Buddhism, stripping away hierarchical elements to make Eastern wisdom accessible. Initially, a deep-seated aversion to meditation stemmed from its association with New Age culture, conjuring images of unrealistic cosmic bliss. However, skepticism began to erode with a scientific understanding of its tangible benefits, particularly its ability to counteract the modern fight-or-flight response, thereby reducing stress and lowering blood pressure. This transformed meditation from a mystical practice into a potent tool for well-being. The initial foray involved simple instructions: focus on breath, gently guide the mind back, which quickly revealed itself as a rigorous brain exercise, a badass endeavor demanding significant mental grit to rein in the runaway train of the mind. Despite initial difficulty, consistent daily practice started yielding benefits off the cushion. Mundane in-between moments transformed into opportunities for present-moment awareness, replacing habitual distraction with a nascent underground aquifer of calm. This practice fundamentally altered one's relationship with boredom, fostering a newfound sense of groundedness. The true essence of this practice was mindfulness, the capacity to observe thoughts, emotions, and physical sensations without being swept away. While typical responses involve wanting, rejecting, or zoning out, mindfulness offered a crucial fourth option: non-judgmental awareness. A pivotal breakthrough for applying mindfulness in acute situations was the RAIN technique: recognize, allow, investigate, non-identification, which helped create vital perspective and diminish the authority of anxious thoughts, revealing them as passing phenomena rather than immutable truths. This taught one to respond thoughtfully rather than react impulsively. This journey culminated in a challenging 10-day silent meditation retreat, Spirit Rock, initially a source of pervasive dread. It was a grueling ordeal of physical discomfort and relentless mental clamor. A pivotal conversation with a senior teacher, Goldstein, and later the gentle but firm diagnosis from another teacher, Spring, "You're trying too hard," proved revolutionary. Embracing the advice to simply be with whatever arose, the meditator experienced a sudden shift into choiceless awareness, where sensations, thoughts, and sounds were observed with effortless clarity, yielding not only thrilling insights into the fleeting nature of reality, but also a profound, self-generated happiness. A deeply moving metta, loving-kindness meditation session unexpectedly cultivated profound empathy, culminating in an uncontrollable rush of tears. Goldstein further clarified dukkha, often mistranslated as suffering, explaining it more accurately as unsatisfying or unreliable, and articulated that true happiness is cultivated by aligning with reality, understanding impermanence, and seeing the self as an illusion. His most valuable practical insight was the simple question for managing obsessive overthinking: is this useful? A powerful tool for discerning productive planning from wasteful rumination. This deep dive into mindfulness was bolstered by its dramatic entry into mainstream science. John Kabat-Zinn's secularization of traditional practices into mindfulness-based stress reduction enabled rigorous scientific study. Breakthrough MRI research showed MBSR training led to thicker gray matter in brain areas linked to self-awareness and compassion, while stress-related regions shrank, indicating enhanced thoughtful response over reactive impulse. Studies also showed meditators could quiet the default mode network, the brain's area for rumination, even outside of practice. These findings established neuroplasticity, demonstrating the adult brain's ability to be sculpted, proving that well-being, resilience, and impulse control are skills that can be developed. Mindfulness was increasingly applied in corporate settings, championed not as a spiritual exercise, but as a tool for better leadership, focus, creativity, and innovation, advocating single tasking and purposeful pauses. Despite some concerns about McMindfulness, the widespread adoption of mindfulness signified its emerging role as a powerful software upgrade for the brain, with global transformative potential. Cultivating compassion and integrating mindfulness into modern striving, the art of wise selfishness. Achieving a significant career milestone, such as becoming a weekend co-anchor for a prominent morning show, typically brings a fleeting surge of euphoria, quickly followed by the return of familiar anxieties. This rapid shift provided a stark, immediate lesson in the Buddhist principle that lasting satisfaction remains elusive from external validation. When attempting to share the benefits of a meditation retreat, conversations often met with skepticism, making the practitioner feel eccentric. The breakthrough came with the simple, understanded phrase, "It makes me 10% happier." This slogan effectively bridged the gap between exaggerated self-help promises and a tangible, believable return on investment, making mindfulness digestible and appealing to a pragmatic mindset focused on incremental, realistic improvements rather than total transformation. Discussions with seasoned meditation teachers revealed that mindfulness isn't a magical cure-all, but rather a tool for mitigation, not alleviation, of suffering. It doesn't eliminate difficult emotions or life's inherent challenges, but it creates a crucial space between a stimulus and one's reaction. This allows for observing internal turmoil, like the buzzing sensation of anxiety or the heat in one's ears, as simply transient experiences, thereby reducing their intensity and duration. This process fosters resilience, enabling quicker recovery from setbacks and preventing issues from escalating into significant emotional drama. Applying these principles in a demanding, unscripted television environment proved invaluable. Navigating spontaneous on-air chatter, awkward segments, and a constant barrage of unfiltered viewer feedback became manageable. Daily meditation practice, even brief sessions, helped in stepping back from immediate emotional reactions. The continuous human tendency to fall into the if-only trap, believing that the next promotion, possession, or experience will bring ultimate happiness, was revealed as a perpetual source of unhappiness. Mindfulness offered a way to acknowledge these desires without being consumed by them, recognizing that true contentment comes from understanding and working with the mind itself. A profoundly transformative concept emerged, the idea of being kind not purely for altruistic reasons, but for personal gain, termed wise selfishness. This concept, articulated by the Dalai Lama, suggested that developing concern for others immensely benefits oneself. The Dalai Lama, surprisingly pragmatic, candidly admitted to losing his temper and welcomed scientific scrutiny, reinforcing the notion that much personal trouble stems from self-centeredness. Scientific research robustly supported this wise selfishness. Studies demonstrated that compassion meditation significantly lowers the stress hormone cortisol, protecting against diseases. Simple acts of kindness activated the brain's pleasure centers, the warm glow effect, proving that giving can feel as good as receiving. Overall, compassionate individuals tended to be healthier, happier, more popular, and more successful professionally. Research showed compassion meditation actively cultivated empathy, making people more generous and less self-focused, aligning with a modern psychological shift acknowledging cooperation and kindness as evolutionary advantages. While initially skeptical of formal compassion practices like metta, loving-kindness meditation, the intellectual underpinnings, the illusion of separation from the world, resonated. Incorporating metta, which involves systematically sending benevolent thoughts to various people, gradually shifted internal priorities. This compassion muscle training led to tangible changes, such as genuinely engaging with others, avoiding negative gossip, and empathizing with those experiencing anger. A deeper understanding of karma emerged, not as supernatural retribution, but as the immediate mental consequences of actions. Kindness expands the mind, while negativity contracts it. This mindfulness made one more sensitive to even minor transgressions. Applying concern for others, like mentoring colleagues, often felt more easeful than focusing solely on personal challenges, fostering a virtuous cycle of better decisions and increased happiness. However, applying this compassion wasn't always straightforward. In competitive environments, such as journalism, the demands of the job could clash with these principles. A stark example involved interviewing a celebrity, where intentionally provocative questions designed to elicit a strong reaction and ultimately resulting in a walk-off highlighted the tension between professional duties and the newfound commitment to kindness. This incident forced a critical reevaluation of whether going in for the kill could truly coexist with genuine compassion, posing a significant challenge to the personal experiment. This tension escalated into a significant professional crisis with the arrival of a new, highly demanding executive who quickly transformed the news division. Initially, the journalist, steeped in spiritual practices, responded by adopting a passive, Zen approach, rationalizing this detachment as spiritual equanimity. This meant not actively hustling for prominent assignments or seeking to impress the new boss. However, this strategy backfired, leading to the anchor being increasingly sidelined from major news stories and losing professional momentum. During this period of stagnation, valuable insights emerged from a meditation retreat and from conversations with a trusted therapist and candid wife. A pivotal meeting with the executive laid bare the issue. The journalist was told to stop being so zen, to up his game, and become a leading man. It became clear that his perceived spiritual calm had been misinterpreted as weakness or a lack of drive. The therapist's counterintuitive advice to hide the Zen offered a crucial path forward. It wasn't about abandoning spiritual principles, but about presenting an assertive, capable front in the professional arena, recognizing that a competitive environment might exploit perceived meekness. This meant striving vigorously and advocating for oneself without devolving into old dickish ways. The ultimate wisdom lay in non-attachment to results, dedicating oneself fully to effort and action, yet letting go of a rigid emotional investment in specific outcomes. This understanding allowed for maximum resilience and the ability to rebound from setbacks, as failure didn't shatter one's core. It was about combining intense effort with an acceptance of factors beyond one's control, akin to praise Allah but also tie your camel to the post, or be simple, not a simpleton. This integration of ambitious striving with equanimity led to a new framework, the Way of the Warrior, a set of 10 precepts for navigating professional life with mindfulness. Key among these were not being a jerk, but hiding the Zen when necessary, meditating consistently, understanding that constructive insecurity, vigilance, diligence can be useful, recognizing that equanimity fuels creativity, not forcing solutions, embracing humility, going easy on self-criticism, practicing non-attachment to results, and frequently asking, what matters most? By implementing these principles, the journalist was able to re-engage with his career, secure high-profile assignments, improve his on-air performance, and receive renewed positive feedback, all while maintaining an internal sense of peace and purpose. This represented the long-sought balance between the price of security, ambition, and the wisdom of insecurity, acceptance of impermanence. Integrative analysis. The overarching narrative charts a profound transformation from a state of driven but deeply conflicted mindlessness to one of integrated, resilient awareness. The initial protagonist embodies the modern archetype of success: ambitious, relentless, outwardly composed, yet beneath this veneer lurks a volatile cocktail of unaddressed trauma, chronic anxiety, and self-destructive habits. The public panic attacks serve as a crucible, forcing an overdue confrontation with the internal landscape, revealing the hidden costs of a life spent perpetually chasing external validation while neglecting inner well-being. The journey's brilliance lies in its pragmatic approach to spirituality. It doesn't advocate for abandoning ambition or retreating from the world, but rather for reorienting one's relationship with it. The initial skepticism towards religion and self-help is systematically dismantled, not through forced conversion, but through rigorous intellectual inquiry and direct experiential learning. The encounters with the enigmatic spiritual teacher and the critical assessment of Happiness, Inc. underscore the need for discernment, highlighting that true wisdom is often grounded and stripped of commercial embellishments. Dr. Mark Epstein and the secularization of Buddhist principles become pivotal, offering a relatable, actionable framework for mental well-being that resonates with a Western, scientific mindset. The concepts of impermanence, the ego's ceaseless chatter, and mindfulness as non-judgmental awareness move from abstract ideas to concrete tools for navigating daily life. The integration of ancient wisdom with modern neuroscience is a powerful theme. The book effectively bridges the perceived chasm between spiritual practice and scientific rigor, demonstrating how meditation, once viewed as counterculture, is now a scientifically validated software upgrade for the brain. Neuroplasticity, the DMN, and the tangible benefits on stress, focus, and compassion provide compelling evidence, transforming meditation from a mystical pursuit into a practical, skill-based endeavor. This demystification is crucial for broader adoption, reframing well-being not as a matter of luck, but as a cultivatable skill. Perhaps the most significant implication is the redefinition of happiness. It shifts from an elusive state contingent on external achievements to an internally generated capacity. The 10% happier slogan brilliantly captures this pragmatic shift, acknowledging that while life's challenges persist, mindfulness provides the tools for mitigation and resilience, creating a vital space between stimulus and reaction. This enables one to respond thoughtfully rather than react impulsively, fostering a profound sense of agency and inner peace even amidst chaos. The concept of wise selfishness, being kind not purely for altruism, but for its measurable benefits to one's own health, happiness, and professional success, further grounds spiritual practice in relatable human experience, demonstrating that compassion is not a naive ideal, but a strategic advantage. The narrative culminates in a powerful synthesis, the Hide the Zen philosophy. This isn't about abandoning inner peace for outer striving, but about artfully integrating the two. It's a sophisticated understanding that genuine equanimity can fuel assertive action, provided there's non-attachment to results. This allows for vigorous effort without the crushing weight of emotional dependency on specific outcomes, fostering resilience in the face of setbacks. The Way of the Warrior precepts represent a tangible playbook for living this integrated life, combining diligence, humility, and self-compassion with a clear-eyed focus on what truly matters. Ultimately, the journey transforms a deep-seated skepticism about spiritual enlightenment into an open-minded agnosticism, acknowledging the scientific and experiential plausibility of profoundly altering one's internal emotional landscape. The protagonist's continued professional success, alongside moments of profound clarity and self-generated happiness, underscores that this path is not an escape from reality, but a more effective way to engage with it. The enduring takeaway is a call for continuous, lifelong commitment to mindfulness, kindness, and reduced reactivity, a testament to the ongoing human exploration of potential fueled by a newfound willingness and pragmatic faith in the power of conscious living. Actionable Exercises. Actionable Exercises. 1. Observing your inner anchorman. Your mind often has a relentless inner voice, constantly narrating, judging, and comparing. This ghostly inner anchorman can fuel anxiety by fixating on the past or future, preventing you from truly being present. This exercise helps you notice this voice without getting swept away by it. Find 5 quiet minutes each day. Close your eyes or simply soften your gaze. Your only job is to notice the thoughts passing through your mind. Imagine them as clouds drifting across the sky, or cars moving down a street. You see them, but you don't need to chase after them or climb into them. Observe the tone and content of this inner voice. Is it critical, comparing, worrying? When you realize you've been caught up in a thought, gently bring your attention back to simply noticing. This practice builds awareness and creates space from the incessant chatter. 2. The "is this useful" filter. We often get trapped in cycles of repetitive worries or rumination. This exercise gives you a powerful tool to interrupt that cycle, helping you discern between productive thinking and wasteful mental chatter. The next time you find your mind spiraling into worry, overthinking a past event, or fretting about a future scenario, pause for a moment. Take a breath and ask yourself, is this thought useful right now? If the thought helps you make a concrete plan, solve a problem, or genuinely learn from an experience, acknowledge its usefulness. If it's just replaying old grievances, imagining worst-case scenarios without a solution, or fueling anxiety, then recognize that it isn't serving you. Gently redirect your attention to something constructive in the present moment, or simply focus on your breath. 3. Mindful pause practice. Our days are filled with in-between moments, waiting, transitioning, or just experiencing mundane tasks. These are often overlooked opportunities to cultivate a deeper sense of calm. This exercise helps you transform these moments into anchors for present moment awareness. Choose 3 to 5 routine in-between moments in your day where you typically zone out or grab your phone. This could be while waiting for your coffee to brew, at a red light, walking between meetings, or before opening an email. During these times, instead of reaching for a distraction, bring your full attention to your breath. Notice the sensations of inhaling and exhaling for a few cycles. Then expand your awareness to include sounds, sights, and physical sensations around you, without judgment. Let these brief, mindful pauses create an underground aquifer of calm that you can tap into throughout your day. 4. Navigating tough emotions with rain. Difficult emotions are an inevitable part of life, but we often react impulsively or try to suppress them, making them stronger. The RAIN technique provides a structured way to mindfully approach challenging feelings, helping you respond thoughtfully rather than react blindly. The next time you feel a strong, uncomfortable emotion like anger, anxiety, or sadness, take a moment to pause and apply RAIN. R. Recognize. Clearly acknowledge what is happening. I am feeling frustrated, or this is sadness. A. Allow. Offer an inner yes to the experience. Don't fight or resist the feeling, just let it be present. I. Investigate. Explore how the emotion manifests physically in your body. Where do you feel it? What are the sensations, e.g., tightness, heat, trembling? N. Non-identification. Remind yourself that this feeling is temporary and does not define who you are. I am experiencing anxiety, but I am not anxiety itself. This practice creates vital mental space, diminishing the emotion's power and allowing you to choose your response. 5. The compassion ripple. Being kind isn't just good for others, it's profoundly beneficial for your own well-being. This wise selfishness can reduce stress, improve relationships, and activate your brain's pleasure centers. This exercise helps you intentionally cultivate kindness and observe its positive ripple effect. For the next week, commit to performing one small, deliberate act of kindness each day. This could be as simple as giving a genuine compliment, holding a door for someone, letting another driver go first, sending an encouraging message, or truly listening to a colleague without interrupting. After each act, pause for a moment. Notice any feelings of warmth, lightness, or connection within yourself. This is your warm glow effect. Observe how the recipient reacts. At the end of the week, reflect on how these small actions impacted your mood, your interactions, and your overall sense of well-being. That wraps up our exploration of today's book. If even one idea here gave you something to reflect on, give it a like so YouTube knows to share more with you. And if you'd like the next insight in your feed, hit subscribe. Remember, what you heard today is our independent interpretation, enriched with analysis and exercises. The full book has far more depth, so consider reading it to experience the author's work directly. Thanks for listening to DeftU Insights, where we turn great books into tools for growth.